right, welcome to another episode of Inside with the Outsiders.
A name I came up with, by the way.
I was going to announce our special guest today, but she's interjected. And welcome, Mary Pryor.
Hi, thank you. And you're welcome on the name.
She did help us pick out the name.
I did. Help us pick out. Tell them the name you were going to go with. Let's see how far we got.
I was going to go with Inside with the Outsiders. She came up with a name, all right. She definitely demands the credits and deserves the credits.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So Mary, I've known you for a very long time, but we know of each other for a very long time.
Can I tell the people what I originally thought about you?
No, you go ahead and tell them.
Awesome.
We met how long ago? First off, tell them where we met, or it doesn't have to be because we met in a club.
Well, I met you when you were club man.
Explain club man so people know.
So everyone, hi. So Jeremy used to be a club promoter, a nightlife enthusiast. He's been written about for his time during that season of his life. I knew of Jeremy through that scene, which means I assumed 5 things off top. 1, asshole. 2, probably a pimp. 3, probably like shelling drugs to girls to get to come to this table. 5, baseless alcoholic. And, I mean, other things like unscrupulous, evil.
Okay, so none of that is true.
Nightlife, insomniac,
But what's interesting is you're not the first person to think that. And I understand, given the fact that I worked in nightlife, because it's expected, right?
Yes. Very unhealthy, very
Which is literally the opposite of me. But you didn't know that because we didn't know each other. We knew of each other. But it wasn't until the pandemic when we connected. I actually reached out to Mary because this was when everyone was doing the Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, a lot of social media presence.
Today, the taping of the show is the 1-year anniversary of the fact that he got murdered, which is, yes. I'm not really a fan of the fact that we're making martyrs out of people in this way. I think people should be alive more so than dead. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you reached out to me.
Mary's I would say a big activist.
Not a big activist. I just let people know the world's still fucked up and we should be better people. It's simple stuff.
As they should know. So we saw a lot of social media presence about Black Lives Matter and all these amazing causes that should be, we shouldn't be having to do what we're doing. But nonetheless, I saw everyone posting social media, the black squares, all this stuff, but I didn't see anyone really taking action. I thought to myself, how can I take outsiders and actually really help? And I had the idea of doing a bike ride because that's the only thing that we were kind of able to do socially and safely, and hit up a bunch of black-owned businesses. And I know, based on what I know of Mary, what I see on her social media, you're very active and outspoken for many good causes as well.
Actively always supporting black-owned businesses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I figured there's no one better to reach out to. I've known you for a long time. We've known of each other, like you said, but we didn't get to know each other until then. And I didn't even know you were a big cyclist. I told you I was putting a bike ride together. Like, oh, I ride. I'm like, you ride? Like, but do you really ride? No, she really rides. Like, we rode. We hung out hard last summer. Like almost every day.
You thought I was like riding a tricycle? Like what did you think I was doing?
I had people tell me they ride and they like they fall way behind. And I know I go a little too fast.
Everybody stop. Jeremy likes to race himself, his other Gemini twin personality, because that's what he is. Jeremy likes to race air. Jeremy is ultra competitive.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I just want people to understand his idea of a good time is to just be competitive for no reason whatsoever. So everybody else is riding their bike like regular cycling, enjoying human beings, just trying to breathe in the midst of the pandemic and the trauma associated with group mourning. This guy thinks he's fucking Lance Armstrong with the dope in his system. And that's the truth.
Wow. Drug-free, though. Drug-free.
Jeremy is hyper drug-free,
yes.
But he behaves like Lance Armstrong. And we're just going to eat some doubles. We're not even trying
really
to
quickly,
do it.
I kind of want to clear my name from all those 5 negative things you mentioned at the beginning of this show that we got to know each other very well. And I actually had a great time hanging out with you last summer.
Jeremy
I really
is very,
appreciate
very
you.
selfless and gives a lot and cares about people more so than himself
I'm
sometimes.
not a pimp.
He's not a pimp.
Thank you.
He's
No
not.
drugs.
He doesn't. He is straight edge man.
I will have a beer.
You know,
I will
he's
have a couple
straight edge.
drinks,
He
but
will
I'm
have
not-
a beer, such as Fat Tire, a beer for the people. And so there's that. Now I feel like I want a beer, but it's too late now. We're doing
No, we
this.
can grab you a beer. You want a beer?
Yeah, sure. What am I gonna do? Just keep talking to the air?
Hold on. I'll be right back and get her a beer.
I can tell you more about things about Jeremy. Did you know that Jeremy also, outside of being very competitive about that, he has a lot of useless facts. Jeremy also really loves his mom and his dad. He's also a little picky. I'll say very picky. And again, I told you he's a Gemini, so he's probably halfway devilish. That's just how they are. Oh, thank you so much.
I don't know if I want to cheers to this because it's like backhanded compliments. He's great, but let's criticize him a little more.
No, Jeremy is actually one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet, and he's a marketing genius, and I'm glad he's stepping into this. But yes, so outsiders, like, I appreciate when Jeremy reached out. It was very genuine. I think for me, I spent a lot of time looking at people do this all the wrong way, and I'm very active in saying it's all the wrong way. And, you know, as a melanated person who understands the intersection of business and responsibility, corporate social responsibility is the term we're using now, whatever, and the fact that diversity and equality and inclusion is falsely, like, actually not really
it's
taken.
more of a PR move.
It's
than
a
anything
PR move
else,
more than anything else.
Which is, don't mean to cut you off, but we've seen this come into fruition since last summer, and it's irritated the hell out of me because outsiders from the beginning, just like my nightclub promoting days, I've always done very diverse crowds.
I will say that Jeremy has always had very diverse crowds at his event.
But for me, I grew up in a very mixed neighborhood, a very mixed family. Like, I'm Persian French, but I also have, like, you know, African American family. I have all kinds of friends. Like, honestly, in the parties I threw, I always loved incorporating different races, gender, sexual orientation, and for outsiders, it's the same thing, as well as, I keep on mentioning this, but diversity also includes socioeconomic backgrounds, right? Financial.
Yeah. So Jeremy does, Outsiders is a very diverse group. That is 100% true. It's not even like me. Like, it's just being very honest. And I've made amazing connections with people there. Like, we all keep in touch and we all laugh together. A couple of them are in my joke groups. And
I got
so
removed, didn't I?
you got removed because you weren't saying nothing.
Yeah, very true. I wasn't active.
You were not active. You were.
Wait, hold on. What's the group? What's the?
So I have a very active joke group that I add different celebrities in there, and people don't know who's who. So if you're not active in the group, we kick you out. Okay. I don't make the rules here, even though it's my group. I do make the rules. But
she chose to kick me out, but it's all good. I wasn't contributing.
You weren't contributing.
My mind was busy.
And then we have people that will, like, take jokes from the group and post it on their page. We'll all be like, "Damn, you took my joke and just put it
No credit.
on your IG. You ain't give no." Wow. But you'll never know who's in there. And I have a great mix of friends that are like former athletes, really well-known TV personalities, really big people that work in music, really big people that are just like average human beings, all different types, all different orientations. I make sure there's no political conversations in the group.
Right, you shut that down really quick one time. Yeah.
I shoot it down because everything is political, whether you want it or not. I know that I experience malaise as a woman, as a black woman. You know, like, and Jeremy knows this, I'm very, very, I want access to be granted without having to, like, beg. You know, I think that companies, if they want to be inclusive, just do it. It's not that hard. If regular, everyday people with no big budgets and no money and no checks can do it, and people that are, like, you know, caring about others and just, like, providing a space for that to be there, that matters, and there's no budget behind it. So, you know, the intention is important. The intention is kind of the spark for everything at the end of the day. So, you know, I don't want to get all serious or whatever, but if a group isn't inclusive, I don't support, I don't promote it, I don't care, I don't want to connect dots. I don't donate my resources, which I am very aware that I have a vast amount of those. I don't donate my time. I don't.
You're very outspoken about that as well.
Yeah.
You're very outspoken about protecting your energy, yourself, and your resources. I mean, I think I see maybe twice a week where I see a post of yours that's like, if you're not gonna give me a check, I'm not gonna help you. You can't get my advice. Now, what is it? I forgot what you posted like yesterday. It was like,
sorry, I'm not doing that for free. That was actually
Yes.
from With Honors. The thing about that is that I'm very helpful. Everybody who knows me for real knows, like, you can ping me and I'll be like, whatever. But the boundaries that people have just because they have a social media account or a following, and my following is not that big. I'm really good at driving conversation.
Yes.
If I wanted to have my ass and my abs out, I could. I don't want to do that. Like, I care about, like, just being a human being without the expectation of you thinking that I'm going to lie to you about my social media experience. I'm not going to find a car and pose in front of it. I'm not going to do this elaborate photo shoot unless I'm getting paid to do that. Like, I'm just trying to be authentic. If I recommend something, I mean it. I don't want you to pay me to do it.
Well, we see that your social media presence is super authentic. You're opinionated in a great way. But let's talk about the stuff that people don't really know. Like, where are you from?
So I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, one of the best cities in America. We are the Motor City. You wouldn't have R&B really without us because of Motown. You wouldn't have soul music without us, again, because of Motown. You wouldn't have cars without us. We're the freaking Detroit makes the world go around.
And it's starting to come back too, right? I see a lot of stuff.
When you say come back, I'd like to let you know we never left.
I'm not. That's not come. Like, I mean, it's on the. I guess it's.
Well,
they're putting new life back into it.
Well, every city is on the comeback after this
Yeah.
pandemic that we've all endured. You know, I was in New York literally this weekend, and I was driving around, and I've even tried to do lunch and dinner with a mutual friend of ours. She's a really well-known, like, DJ influencer, and we were downtown in Soho, like, where are we going to eat? Because, wow, right? So I only bring that up to say, yes, Detroit is where I'm from. Yes, there's been a lot of ups and downs. Yes, there's always a comeback that's coming back. But, like, you know, people, access, opportunities, that's what really matters in every major city right now, especially as we look at the renaissance of what is still being in a pandemic, but not wanting to be in a pandemic because we kind of, like, are mask off right now.
Yeah.
Team Pfizer in this bitch.
Yeah, that's right, Pfizer.
Oh, that's right, you Pfizer?
Yeah, Pfizer.
Name
That's
brands
like,
only.
What? Oh yeah, Moderna's not really a name brand.
I mean, Moderna,
name
that's
brands
cool.
only. Johnson & Johnson's a name brand.
But Johnson & Johnson, that one-shot deal. Anyway, we're not here to talk about vaccines. We're here to talk about inside
you're
with
from Detroit,
outsiders.
And what's
Detroit.
your background, though?
My background is African and Caribbean. I'm Nigerian and Haitian, which means I grew up with a lot of guilt, a lot of things to do to protect myself that are probably not written down. Really good access and understanding of food. I'm so sorry I did not follow the rules to your show. But yeah, I grew up with my grandmother who mostly did a lot of work. My mom had like MS, which if people don't know what that is, it's really aggressive as an autoimmune illness.
Right?
Yeah, multiple sclerosis. My dad was around, but he worked in the plant and had other things that, you know, men, y'all be doing stuff anyway. Y'all be doing stuff. Y'all be doing stuff. That's literally a slogan.
T-shirt. Men, y'all be doing stuff. I had a physical therapist when I had back surgery like 10 years ago. He was this Jewish dude from Staten Island. One day he looks at me, he goes, "You know, Jeremy, bitches be crazy." I said, "What?" So he's like this 40-year-old middle-aged Jewish man from Staten Island, and he comes out of left field. Bitches be crazy. I'm like, what'd you just say?
He clearly was going through it that day. You don't know what text message he got.
No.
And if it was 10 years ago, he might have been using an iPhone 6. You don't know what.
No, that was like iPhone 4 years back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, his phone was probably blowing up while trying to help you out. You don't know what he's going through.
Who knows? But he looked at me and
But
said
men,
that.
y'all be doing stuff. So my dad was one of those men. Anyway, but my grandmother, like, was really big on, like, being sufficient, cooking to a fault, I think, to a degree.
Well,
but
I
like,
have to say, because we were hanging out so much last year, and we barbecued a bunch at my house with friends. Let's talk about your OCD a little bit. Let's talk a little about that.
Okay, I didn't know it was going to get brought up here, but
If you're okay with talking about it.
If you want to do that, let's talk. Jeremy, everybody, had limited items to utilize to barbecue properly, and he had a propane grill. So what this black woman did, because we always save the day, unfortunately, America, I upgraded him in one day.
She did.
So what else you got to say about that moment? How do you
Well,
want
let's
to
talk
phrase
about
that?
I appreciate her as like a house guest, because I don't think I know I'm not a neat freak, but I'm not disgusting either. Like I feel like I'm normal. But she'd walk around my place, from room to room, and like clean up as she's walking through the place. Like I'm like, did you just clean that up? Did you just fold that and put it away?
I'm like, why is this
You can
out?
continue doing that.
You've
I
been to
don't
my
mind.
apartment. You know, like I'm just, like.
Although I'm surprised your apartment, I would assume you'd be more minimalist, but you have a lot of stuff.
I have like plants and books. I'm just trying to read, man. You know, I'm just. Is that okay? Can I read, brother? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Men be doing, what is it? Men, y'all be doing stuff?
Man, y'all be doing stuff. But, cooking is one of my first loves. Talking, like communications. I mean, there's a lot of different things my first love. Wellness is my first love. Caring about, like, fitness is my first love. But, like, being able to have an outlet to, like, I mean, I don't know if I want to take everybody back to the trauma that is, like, last year. But, like, being able to, like, just ride a bike and have a moment without, being inside. That's a big deal when you have chosen to be inside due to the being afraid of the air for a certain amount of months.
Yeah, literally, we're afraid to be outside.
And and COVID is scary. You beat COVID, right?
I
Yeah.
had COVID.
So, there's so much in the experience of what I grew up with, which is my grandmother was big on working hard. She was a Taurus, so she was a workaholic, which I have definitely absorbed as a person.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that later, but you are one of the busiest people I know. It's like,
And I'm not really that busy. I'm just like, I'm unlearning this, and I'm glad that I'm developing a relationship with this current man in my life that's shown me this.
Congrats.
But I was raised because of my grandmother's struggle and what she dealt with. So my grandmother is very, 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 very fair. She passed for Italian.
Yeah, she was the one that was doing some amazing things for the fam, right?
Yes.
The family.
Stop. And so she made a lot of those sacrifices because she had no choice. My grandmother ran away from Alabama at 11, didn't know how to read.
Oh, wow.
So my grandma was born in 1912, the year the Titanic sank. Ran away, went to Harlem. My grandmother utilized her beauty in the way she needed to as a performer at the time out there. Moved to Michigan.
She passed for white?
She passed for Italian.
Yeah.
She passed for white.
Yeah.
And also just because she was very fair, she just it's fucked up. She got afforded a lot of opportunities, right? So she used that, ended up working for the Archdiocese of Detroit, kind of like as a chef, had jobs on the side where she was a maid. Literally, I got my first car for free, my second car for free. I went to private school for free because my grandmother just put in the work and was recognized for doing a lot of things for people within that current makeup of what we're talking about.
So
and just to make sure people are aware, we're talking my grandmother's prime of being a individual where she was within the Archdiocese is when you had this weird marriage between the Catholic Church and the Union folks. And I'm talking about the Teamsters.
Yeah.
Automotive Union.
Is this around the same time as the Hoffa stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, my grandmother was very aware of things and was very helpful. And so, growing up in the 90s and benefiting from that, one of the most unique memories I have is when my grandmother passed away. Her funeral had a main room, and then there was an overflow room, and everybody was out the door. There were like 6 white men that went up to her casket. Everybody in the front, all of us, like all the family from like maternal, all of that, were like, who are these white guys kissing on? And my Aunt Sarah, alive at the time, was sitting there like, yeah, your grandma had admirers. We were like,
So the day she passed?
Yeah, like, I mean, my grandmother was known, so like it was kind of like word spread and people wanted to honor. It was a big deal. But like, like my grandmother made things happen. I discovered when she passed that I never knew. So like, it's kind of a thing.
I can see similarities in you. Let's actually talk about what you're making happen. What are you doing right now? Like, I know one of the things.
You trying to get me in jail?
No, I know you're involved in a legal cannabis farm.
I am. I'm involved in a legal.
And you took us there last summer. It was a trip. This was in New York State, near Ithaca, right?
Y'all, by the way, Jeremy don't smoke. He don't even know what smoking is. He's not.
I've never smoked weed in my life. I've never tried a drug in my life.
Straight edge man.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, so we went. You took us to the farm, and it was a trip. We're walking through acres of land where it's like weed plants in New York State, and it's legal. Like, I'm waiting for like the cartel to come up.
I think
it was a great trip, and I appreciate that.
That was Trickle Farm, which is a hemp farm, and hemp is part of like the family of cannabis plants growth. But like that's CEO is Brittany Carbone. Brittany is from Long Island, Italian, Jewish, Long Island girl to the fullest.
She's awesome.
Her partner's Eric Carbone. Eric is a great guy. Then we have the family. So like, they literally uprooted their entire lives, moved to, it's 40 minutes outside of Ithaca. Yeah. I can't give the exact address because I don't want y'all showing up unprepared. And that, along with the manufacturing arm of what we have for the extraction part, which is Bartle Labs, where we formulate and create like hemp-related botanicals and CBD-related botanicals.
You guys essentially do the whole process.
We're vertical, yeah. So seed to sale, and we also have tonic.
What is your role with them?
I'm chief marketing officer.
Okay.
It's one of my many hats, along with like co-founder and CEO of Canaclusive and a couple of other things that are coming out.
Exactly. I mean, that has a great online presence.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you're doing a great job. I know you even do your own graphics, right? Like,
I am a graphic designer, reluctantly. I don't tell people that because I don't want people asking me to do graphic design work.
You do your own, which is amazing because
there's a team. There's now 16 of us actually.
Okay.
And most of that stuff in terms of social is a mix between mostly Cassia Graham, who's our director of social and community, and myself. But I'm very fast on the design level. Like, I went to Michigan and I did all of our websites for our
What
groups.
actually brought you to New York? I'm backtracking a little bit here, sorry, but what brought you to New York? And when did you come to New York?
I got to New York in 2005, just to visit. 2006, I moved here. I came here because I really wanted to work in the music industry. My first internship was at Caroline Distribution, which, if y'all know any of this, Caroline was our competitor. Was at Studio Distribution. Caroline was our competitor. Studio had like legendary labels like BBE, which was a really big label out of Britain, and I was really into broken beat, bruck beat, hip hop, things of that nature.
What did you want to do within the music business?
I wanted to be an A&R person.
Okay.
After that,
you're a huge music head.
Big music head, and then after that, I went to Sony.
Yeah. You went to, so you were working in the business.
Yeah.
And when did you leave the music
when
business?
They laid everybody off in 2008, which was my first layoff I ever experienced in my life in my 20s, and I was shook. And so I was like, I'm never going to have one job again, and that's been my problem.
Have you worked for yourself? I know you've had jobs here and there, but you've always had
I've always had a side hustle since 2000 and...
What?
Well, if you count me selling cakes at my church... and my side hustle hairstyling business in college, along with my work-study job, you can say that even when I worked in high school, I had 3 jobs. That's wow.
Got it from your grandmother, it sounds like.
You just gotta have multiple incomes. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I'm with you. So when you left the music industry, name a couple of these freelance side hustles that you've had.
Oh wow.
I mean, you got a bunch. I know you have.
Why? Why do you want to know? Why are you asking so many questions about me?
Because this is about you. We're trying to get to know you. We don't want to see the social media Mary here. We want to see Mary,
God,
Mary
wow.
Pryor.
I should have vetted these questions beforehand. So
I didn't for a reason. It's the meat and potatoes of this.
let's see. I've had quite a few. Man.
And you can share.
Okay. Man, I've been a dom.
Oh wow, I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm giving. I'm giving you some stuff
Yeah,
you
let's go.
don't even know.
Guys, in case you're not familiar with what a dom is, please explain what a dom is.
I didn't like it. I did it 3 months. I don't like hurting men. That's weird.
So a dominatrix.
No, a Domino. I was a Domino's pizza delivery girl.
I'm explaining to those who may not know what a dom is.
Yeah, I worked at Domino's Pizza. Yeah.
Yeah, you were a dominatrix. Huh?
Domino's Pizza.
You were hurting men in Domino's Pizza?
I was a Domino's player.
Feeding them.
I was
hot
professional. I
pizza?
was a professional Domino's player.
Okay. Other than
that,
but
I've worked in
do you have any stories from the dom experience, or none that's worth sharing?
So I've also worked at other music spots. I've done a lot of I've done freelance stuff for Red Bull, freelance stuff for Music World, which is like Beyonce's label, marketing side. Worked in tech. Worked on the Samsung building, the one that's 837.
The one in Meatpacking, that one?
Yeah, I worked on the Everett setup for that, which is like the CMS display. I had to teach myself what that was, actually. It was a job that I took because it was like the pay was too good. I had to do it. I've done a lot of
We pause in a second.
No,
okay. I've done a lot of work where I've been like an additional hand that has like an understanding of the strategy of how like something would work on the content or the strategy end or the CPG end. I've worked in advertising. I've worked in tech.
How'd you move from those spaces into the cannabis space? And when did that happen?
my life. My mom, MS. She ended up passing away from complications with MS, but she was my first death doula client. And during that time, I had a medical situation where cannabis provided a lot of benefit based upon the research that I did. Like I read this book called The Cannabis Health Index, and I read about studies coming out of Israel about application for my needs, and kind of carried me through. And there's a lot of misconceptions around cannabis. There's a lot of we assume that if you are Black or anything, you're just like a stoner. I don't have any of whatever that vibe is. That's not me.
So what are you doing to combat those stereotypes?
Existing. I think existing is the biggest thing that you can do to combat that, because at this point, it's a matter of
I think your messaging on Can Inclusive and on Tonic and all that definitely helps combat that. Definitely, you succeed in doing that, in my opinion.
Thanks, Jeremy.
What do you, and I guess in your personal life, you do that by existing. But
exist. I mean, how do I say this? I think that what people lose is consistency when it comes to talking about a certain item or thing that they're passionate about. I've always been someone that has been a resource or a advisor or someone that they can just be a little honest with and get vulnerable about the things that people that they need. And in this life that I'm in now, in this season, just so many things agree. Spiritually, I know that I'm aligned in this path. I meet people that are you existing and me not fitting into a stereotype that would counteract my ability to exist in this space helps me. And what does that mean?
Your interactions.
And I think that we, the plant saved my complete, Chloe provide a lot of health support for what I need.
Yeah. And
on top of my wellness regimen, I'm very serious about all those elements. But I think that the misconception behind cannabis and use and utility has a long way to go. We got hundreds of years of propaganda to go against. slavery close to 500 years ago, we still are where the fuck we're at now. So I have no desire to beat the clock on proving to people or you or anyone why you should care. But what I hate is when people utilize the ideas of utilizing cannabis when it comes to the end of their life, when it comes to stage 3, stage 4 cancer, when it comes to severe crippling anxiety and there's nothing else that can help. There's no reason to view it as well, fuck, I'll just try this, when you could have been adding it into your life in a way that's more responsible, whether it's through an inhalable or an ingestible or something that doesn't make you feel like you don't need to smoke all the time. You don't need to do any of that. But there are ways that we just have to be open to, because all of us have stigmas that ride with us as to why we've been against this plant.
Sorry, I don't mean to
No problem.
chime in, but what are your thoughts on the conversation, people saying you're self-medicate, not you per se, but those who use are self-medicating? There's a difference between using it recreationally for fun and then using it as a crutch.
Well, the thing is this. I think that what's a crutch? And here's my thoughts behind this, and hear me out.
Yeah.
You wake up, you're in severe crippling pain because you have endometriosis. In order for you to be able to operate through your day, you find cannabis gives you relief so that you're able to get up, take a shower. You might have to microdose throughout the day to be able to do your work. If the only other option is for you to take Percocet, what's the crutch?
What about, I'm just playing devil advocate, what about, you're talking about physical ailments, what about mental health issues, like you said, crippling
Well, I
anxiety?
think that everyone has put mental health issues into a weird bucket or bag where they have no idea what they're talking about unless they are actually a therapist or psychiatrist or a professional. So what I always say to people who do not fall into any of those realms, the understanding of the mind and the understanding of the issues that are bigger than just psychosomatic work, but how mental connects to physical, does relate in terms of how we talk about the endocannabinoid system. So if I were to talk to you about the fact that one, you have one, he has one, I have one, everything has one, plants have one, and there's an agreement of how receptors in the body responds to trauma, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, and what that does is a delayed response over time, the thing that you need to do is to fill in those gaps. Those gaps, if you're relying on Western medicine to fill that in, unfortunately, we are now way more aware of the faults of Western medicine and how certain things are added into our systems, unregulated, and not really taught to us in terms of safe use. That creates deeper issues such as the opioid crisis.
Yes, which is, I would say, a far bigger issue than
right?
THC, recreational THC
right,
use.
But as someone who, very much is aware of my regimen needing to be what it is so that I don't end up in the hospital for a certain amount of time or, things like that. I always tell people we just started talking about mental health 2 years ago, and y'all still make fun of people online, still
or bash them if
bash
they're not
people online.
living up to your standards. I agree.
So it looks like we got a lot to go around before we talk about a crutch.
I understand. I appreciate that. That's great insight, and that's very valid. Let's talk a little bit more about what are your goals? I mean, I know you're in the cannabis business.
What are my
your goals
goals?
and dreams? I mean, beyond just the cannabis industry, beyond work, in general, in life. Talk to me about your goals.
I want to be a mom. I want to retire early. I just want to go have sex on an island with my man. Make a bed and breakfast, invite people to come
out. It
out.
actually sounds like a great retirement. You got to figure it out.
I want to retire early.
What do you want to retire to?
Early, I want to retire at 40.
And how old are you now?
I'm close.
I want that for you.
Yeah. Play the lotto. If I play the lotto and you don't see me again.
What do you want to retire to?
See, that I can see people who want to retire, because I want to retire early. I do work a lot too. The people who want to retire early that work a lot, they wind up unretiring themselves and going right back to work. Because you do so much, you wait, what am I doing now?
But it's also, I feel like it's part of their personalities. Those who can work enough and hard enough to retire early are ingrained to work hard enough, right? So you retire and then you get fidgety, you're like, I can't just not do nothing,
I mean, I'll take up swimming or something. Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna do something. I guess
I'm gonna do something,
yeah.
But I know for me, I see, unfortunately, as someone who relies a lot on listening to what the earth tells me and what spirituality guides me with, I am very aware that we've been taught as a culture to succumb to working ourselves to death, working ourselves to achieve things that are really not going to be achieved through the nature of work. And I think that we should have utilized that energy to understand that relationship a little bit more last year. But now as I look at people racing to do these things and get back in the office and do this and do that, and how they're having a hard time jumping back into those things in a large mass like movement, you know, I think the relationship between what we actually care about versus what we think we have to do to survive needs to be way more discussed and clarified.
Agreed. And for me, I'm living it right now. No more nightlife and doing the outside
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
Like,
No more me thinking that you are gonna just throw coke in my face.
and because I would never, but you know, I understand the nightlife stereotype. I do. And it's funny because I'm glad
There goes
I'm not,
Jeremy. Cool party.
I'm
Probably
glad
gonna
I'm not part of
throw-
nightlife for that, because the stereotype, that's not me.
He didn't even have like a gold chain on, which is a typical Persian club guy outfit.
Persian club guy outfit. I have this New York City token, so that's
Yeah, it's totally fine. But
Yeah.
I mean,
And you got the chop meat hanging out too, though.
you know
I don't
it.
even have.
Well, that was it. You need to have the chop meat, the gold chain.
Yeah,
the
you
gold chain gotta sit on.
you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, the used car dealer Persian guy from
Yeah. Big vibes.
from LA. Yeah, appreciate that stereotype.
No
I thought
problem.
that was me.
No problem. Are we
what-
done now? I gotta go.
Well, we really quick. What does success mean to you? You can. I guess
What does
maybe-
success mean to me? Being comfortable and being able to still be happy.
Great answer.
A lot of people are comfortable and not happy.
What is a dream that you've yet to achieve? I guess you answered that. Retiring early and having sex with your man on the
And
beach.
babies. Just,
Babies,
you know,
yeah. What is-
I'm looking for that Lisa Bonet, Jason Momoa type of like freeness.
Oof, okay. I see your vibe. Aiming high. What is your most embarrassing moment?
Oh wow. I fell down 2 flights of stairs at the state
2 flights of-
at State Theater with my undercover ID. I was 16, pretending I was 21, and I was dating a Korean security guard there at the same time who didn't know I was 16.
Wow, you rolled down 2 flights of stairs. That's a lot.
And I got back up and kept dancing. So
Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to share with everyone? Something about yourself?
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. That's not about you, though. That's
I know,
about
but
me.
take it.
I'll take it. All right. This is our last bit. We do 5 rapid-fire questions before we end the show.
Okay.
Are you ready? All right. Hip-hop or house?
House,
Favorite city other than New York?
Detroit,
Okay. In a man, do you prefer a sense of humor or a skilled handyman?
skilled handyman.
Okay.
Jokes can't pay the bills.
That's true.
Very true. Good luck to your man. He better be able to build you something. Beach vacation or cultural adventure?
Beach vacation.
Okay. Well, yeah, you kind of said that. And last question, what is your favorite food?
Ooh, you know what? It wasn't going to be what I thought it was going to be, but now I know the truth. It's a double with tamarind and pepper. Doubles are typically a Trini item, Trini doubles. You can get the best ones at A&A's in Brooklyn on Fulton Street. It's with a chickpea mixture inside. The dough has a little bit of sweetness to it. It's really, really amazing. And you could add tamarind and hot pepper
I like how
sauce
she's
to it.
describing it because she is so busy. This part of the show requires our guests to bring their favorite food so we can all try it. And unfortunately, she is so busy. she's turning her head. She knows she's so busy she didn't bring the dish. But we'll have to go get it together, the 3 of us, sometime.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yes, but
I gave him a
double-
compliment, and he backhanded me, slapped in the face, everybody.
Yeah, well, I also invited
That's
us to
that
go to dinner
Persian
together.
nightclub for you.
That's that Gemini energy, bro. That's that Gemini
Oh,
energy.
I'm on the cusp. I'm Gemini Cancer.
No, you're not.
On that note, Mary, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here. You were a very entertaining guest. I hope you guys liked getting to know Mary on another
It's
episode
me.
of Inside with the Outsiders. Thank you for the name, by the way.
You're welcome.
And we hope you come back, please.
I will come back. Just make sure my 10% is in my account for the name.
10% of 0 is 0. See you guys.